Welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. We have an important choice here, which is, do we want to understand her or support her? For me personally, understanding someone doesn't necessarily mean supporting someone, but if you support them, then you also get to understand them. So I'm going to select support them. I want to be there for her if she needs support from a friend. It's the least I can do. How could I call someone my friend if I can't be there for her if she needs me? Namaya's boisterous laugh fills the quiet afternoon just as the club meeting ends. He pats one of the girls on the back encouragingly. I think about all the things that have led me to this point. All the things I've shared with Rin during the few weeks I've been at Yamaka so far. I understand so very little, but in the end, I'm sure of one thing. If I want to keep going what I have with Rin, I have to throw myself into whatever will come out of this exhibition project along with her. I turn my gaze back at the black mess of a sketch, and the near invisible guiding lines the teacher drew over it. No pattern emerges, nothing that could take me further than I am. I put the graphite down on the table and think hard and honestly about what I really want. What do you really want, mate? Hisao, sorry. I was supposed to call you Meso or Misao, something like that, but that's a completely different game altogether. Oh dear. Aha! The next day I take the bus into the city. It goes twice an hour starting in the morning, passing by the front gate of Yamako at 20 minutes past and 10 to the hour. The ride takes considerably longer than the one Namaya gave us in his car. I slowly read a book as the bus makes its rounds through the suburbs, pausing at almost every stop to pick up someone or let them out. And here we are, eventually we make it to the last stop at the city centre. The city is fair-sized, but not too large, and seems too quiet. Nevertheless, I enjoy the atmosphere. And now we come to the business itself, 22nd Corner. And no, it is not the 22nd corner of the city. It's just the name of the business. Despite being slightly directionally challenged, I find my way from the bus stop to the gallery without too much effort, and soon I find myself staring at the big letters saying 22nd Corner. Here we go. Inside, the gallery owner is intently studying a large painting hanging on the wall, a portrait of an old man. Good afternoon. She turns around to look at me, and a smile of recognition spreads on her lips. Oh, aren't you the young man from the other day, Shichinachi's student? Hisao, was it? That's right. Good afternoon, Mrs. Seinoji. Please, just say, I don't want to feel any older than I am. Wow. You know, I'm so glad that even the young people show interest in art nowadays. It's so refreshing. What brings you here? Surely you aren't just on a courtesy visit, all the way from your school. Ah, I actually came for Rin. I was hoping to see how she's doing. Oh, is that right? Well then, you need to step back outside. You see, the atelier is actually at the next door on the right down the street and up the stairwell. Just climb the stairs to the top floor. There's only one door there. You can't miss it. I give Sei my thanks, exit the gallery, and locate the door she was talking about. It leads to a dark stairwell which reminds me of the stairs leading to the rooftop of the school building. The stairs are steep, and even though it's only 5 floors, my breathing gets heavy before I reach the top. An unamusing wooden door waits for me there. It's unlocked, so I knock and enter. And inside we have... Well, gosh, this is definitely an atelier. The atelier is really just one big room, with the ceiling lower at one end than the other because the roof of the building is gabled. There is a huge skylight in the ceiling that acts as the main source of light for the room. Brilliant sunlight reflects off the white painted walls. I suppose it's good to use natural light for art, it definitely is. There isn't much in the way of interior decoration. No surprise, since the room seems to have been used as storage for a while. All kinds of boxes and office furniture are scattered around the place. The room is dusty since it's not been used for a while. I can see that someone has made some effort to clean up a little, but it's far from immaculate. And here we are. Rin stands in the middle of the room with her back to me, staring at a half-painted canvas placed on an easel. Not working on it, just staring, unmoving. She wears what must be second or third-hand debenham overalls over the standard school uniform shirt, much like the one I'm wearing. They're pretty worn, and are covered in paint splatters. From the way they seem to be loose or tight in places, I'm guessing that they weren't originally Rin's. Hi. Hello. Rin doesn't judge my showing up as worthy of turning around, saying maybe something more than just a mechanical reply to my greeting, smiling, anything. Just breathing in and out would be something along the lines or akin of a human being. She keeps on doing whatever it is she's doing. Probably some weird creative thing inside her head, puzzling it all together. Perhaps I should have expected that much. Still, I make another attempt at conversation. This is a pretty cool place. Big too. It is. Sei said I could use this as much as I like. I even have my own key. So how's the work going? She doesn't answer for a while. Bad luck. I begin to wonder if she's already forgotten the question. As a cloud drifts over the building, shadowing the light pouring in from the skylight, the change in Rin's surroundings seems to wake her up. I don't know. It's like a huge ball. I don't really know which side is the right one. It's really huge. It's the hugest thing ever. Like a mountain growing inside of me. Like I swallowed a mountain whole. It's going to be hard, I think. Really very hard. I try to listen for undercurrents of stress or uncertainty in her voice, but I don't pick up anything like that. Why are you here? Her tone is not as unkind as the directness of the question which make it seem. Well, you said it'd be fine if I came to visit, so here I am. I guess it's not for any reason, but I thought you might like company, or assistance, or maybe some... Hisao. Can you be quiet for about 15 minutes? Maybe 10 is enough. 5 definitely is not. You can talk afterwards. Her tone is sharp, nothing like I've ever heard from her before. There's no command, no annoyance, no anger. But her voice pierces me all the same. Alright. With the silence that falls, anxiety creeps back into my heart. I wonder if it was a mistake to come here. Murmurs of traffic filter in from outside and I start to feel more and more uncomfortable. All my thoughts keep finding themselves returning to certain things that have been swirling relentlessly in the back of my mind for some time now. I feel like those thoughts will surface out of the tempestuous sea of my mind, whether I want it or not. Despite to divert my focus, I fixate on Rin's back as my mind races. I don't think I've ever studied anyone's back so intently before. Her neck, hidden by copper-coloured hair which is, again, in complete disarray. That relaxed yet rigid posture, reminding me that Rin's physical appearance often tends to be as awkward as her various trains of thought. Those gaunt, delicate shoulder blades, visible through the thin white fabric of her shirt. The contours of her hips curving down to her thin thighs. It pees you off? Why does it do that? Rarely does she ever seem to be looking at me, whether literally or figuratively. I, on the other hand, am always watching her back, both literally and figuratively. Whenever she is painting, whenever someone catches her fluttery attention, whenever I don't forcibly make her listen to me, I can't reach through to her. Rin's heart is uncharted territory, dangerous waters, the blank areas on a map. The edge of a world? I don't think the edge of a world, but definitely the other ones. If I went too close, I wonder if I would fall off. What do I think of her? Sometimes she's a loaf in distance, and it annoys me. At other times her passion for the things she thinks worthwhile shines through, and it inspires me. I can't understand her. Still, I like her and consider her my friend. I suppose part of friendship is putting up with the oddities of the people you call friends. Indeed. I have to admit, there is a lot of putting up with Rin. What does she think of me? I have no idea. Last week I thought she might have liked me romantically, what with the kiss and all. It forced me to ponder my own feelings too. This week I am utterly confused. What would she do if I told her I liked her that way? I wonder if I really do. Damn, I can't make sense of even my own thoughts anymore. It must be contagious. Even if I said a thing like that, would it matter? Nothing affects Rin. Nothing. I'm done. I found her turned around now staring straight at me. It unnerves me. I try to remember what we, or rather I, were talking about before she requested a timeout. Oh right. I just come to... I don't know. You still can't finish your sentences? Maybe because you cut us off halfway through. It's not that. Fine. She retreats from the conversation, slipping away from me once again. She doesn't return to painting, but instead keeps looking at me with that empty poker face of hers. I want to talk about some stuff. I've thought a lot about things. What things? Like what happened last week and so on. What happened? I get the feeling she's playing with me. Why? I have no clue. It is not a game, she's playing with my head. I'm pretty sure she doesn't deliberately try to screw with people. Maybe it's just my own mind playing tricks on itself. Still, Rin feels like a puzzle in the form of a girl. I feel attracted to it, compelled to solve it. The overly rational part of my brain refuses to let me give up. I can't leave her alone. I would never have believed if I could be this obsessive about something. Why do I hesitate so much and keep running in circles around her? I don't have to do that. I already decided what I want to say. And that is... Rin. Saying her name with an intention like this makes my mouth dry, as if my subconscious is fighting against what I'm going to say next. I feel like I'm going to lock up any moment now. Rin looks up from her paint-covered toes and stops wiggling them, as there isn't anyone to observe them curiously now. The hard stare of her dark green eyes seems like a portrait. I like you. Okay, that's a start. The lack of any reaction is like a slap to the face. So, I mean, I'd like to like you as more than a friend. What is more? Like, there's another four-lettered L word that also begins with L and ends with E. Just replace two of the letters in there. One of them's a vowel that you change, and one of them's a consonant that you change. V is a consonant, right? And K is a consonant, yeah. Oh yeah, O are vowels. The slow, hesitant words coming from between her strawberry-coloured lips are not the ones I was waiting for. Neither of the two possible answers that I'd been expecting, actually. I feel myself blushing heavily, as is par of the course in this kind of situation. My heartbeat sounds like a percussion orchestra on drugs. Rin's fluke's innocent inquiry feels like I'm being grilled over hot coals. You know, like, romantically, and... No. Rin turns around, giving me the cold shoulder as she returns to look at her painting. She makes a move to pick up her brush, which lies forgotten on the floor, but decides against it at the last moment. I can't talk about that kind of thing now. So, don't talk about that kind of thing. Please. We are friends, right? So you can do that. The silence those words leave behind is deafening. I want to say something, but my mouth refuses to move. There's no way I can retain my dignity. Rin finally picks up a brush without giving any explanation for her behaviour. Maybe there was something in her voice that gave away some emotion, but I couldn't say what. Her shoulders slump melancholically as her foot works the canvases in front of her. She won't let me see her face, and I know it. Feeling the weight of my heart grow heavier, I stand up to leave, for I can't stay here any longer today. It's like I've opened Pandora's box by stepping over some line that Rin didn't want me to cross, and she had to turn me down. I walk across the squeaky floor to the door leading to the stairwell. Rin's quiet voice stops me in my tracks as I'm about to open the door. Hisao. My hand, still on the brass doorknob, is waiting for me to turn it or to withdraw. Yeah? Will you come tomorrow? Yeah? So we are going tomorrow again. Very curious indeed as to where this is going to go across. Maybe Rin can't answer such questions immediately. After a night of bad sleep, I go through my day mostly on automatic. I put on my uniform mechanically, do my schoolwork mechanically, eat my lunch mechanically, reply to teachers mechanically, and thus when the final bell rings I feel as if I'd just woken up. My mind feels blank and overcrowded at the same time, and I can't even begin to unravel the tangle of feelings I got myself into. I spin the bus down, trip downtown, staring out the window, thinking about these things. Thinking about said things. As a result, by the time I climb the stairs to be at the 4 floors above Say's gallery, I feel completely exhausted. Aha, there's more to it. Expecting awkwardness, I quietly knock on the door before entering. I spot Rin at the centre of the small, clear area in the room, working on a painting. She doesn't acknowledge my arrival in any way. Hi, I came, as promised. Rin snaps her head in my direction immediately. Was she waiting for me to say something? And locks that cold, green gaze of hers on me. Although I'm sure my own face can't hide my feelings, Rin's expression is expectant and neutral as always. The clouded, slightly absent-minded darkness in her eyes is like a wall standing between me and her. It is the first awkward silence between us that is truly awkward. Yesterday, both of us said something we couldn't take back, and there's no way it can be undone. I want to say something, but Rin forbade me from doing so. I can't even begin to guess what she's thinking, but I'm feeling the pressure of her lightless eyes on me, compelling me to break the silence without saying the thing that I most want to say. To my horror, I find that I can't find any way to start a conversation. It's as if I've completely lost the ability to speak with her. Just keep working if you're in the middle of something. I'll just sit down here. Rin nods wordlessly at me and picks up a brush from the floor with her toes of her right foot. I sink into a worn-out sofa, picking up a book from my bag and open it to where I stopped last night. I can't really concentrate on it, but it's better than doing nothing. The two of us are so close to each other, together in the same room, even. And yet, we're both off doing our own thing as if we were miles apart. I can't help but wonder about this unnatural situation. Why did I come here? Because she asked me to do so yesterday, of course. However, it looks like there's absolutely no need for me to actually be here. It makes me feel awkward at first, but as I recall the previous silence I've quietly passed with Rin, I settle down and try to tone into the same comfortable mood I was in back then. Time stretches, then slows down. The page of my book rustle each time I turn them. After maybe half an hour, or 1 hour at most, Rin breaks the silence to my complete surprise. Don't give me surprises! Hi, Sal. Yeah? Are you my friend? It's an echo of yesterday, but I said this thing about 24 hours ago. It's an echo of yesterday, I know it. So even Rin couldn't just push it aside from her mind, caught off guard. I also honestly, I don't know. Yeah, of course I am. Don't worry about stuff like that, come on. Okay. She doesn't say anything further. I feel happy somehow. Several chapters later, I mark my spot, close the book, and put it away in my bag. Getting up from the sofa, I see that Rin's made considerable progress on her painting. I take a look at it for a bit. It's still not quite finished, I suppose. It looks great. You're gonna get bad luck again. It's bad luck to comment on finished paintings, yeah. After that, I quietly leave the studio and catch a bus taking me back to school. Another day ticks by. Another day is going to come. And of course, another day is going to go by as quickly as the previous one. Or maybe it'll be slower. Maybe there are more events within what? Life settles into some sort of vague, undefined norm. I visit Rin whenever I can, but each time is as strange as the first. Oh, I didn't mean to click off the screen there. They consist mainly of me watching Rin at work, or just reading a book on the couch while she works. We barely talk at all. Long, quiet evenings stretch over the last weeks of June. I sit on the couch in the atelier, listening to the quiet rustle of Rin's brush and my own heartbeat, trying to make sense of the former and forget about the latter. I am a silent visitor in this place. A ghost. At some point I start thinking about my presence as meaningful to Rin somehow, but never end up asking her about it. I don't even bring up the forbidden topic anymore, either. I try to stop thinking about it altogether. It's hard to do so, and doesn't get any easier with the passage of time. I think Rin just needs more time than you think to think what you said. My heart aches every time I look at the awkward figure of the girl I decided I liked, yet who refuses to acknowledge it. I still can't seem to find the right words to talk to her about anything at all, but I find quiet solace in observing her from nearby. The distance between us doesn't feel that huge whenever I can be close to her, even if it's like this. Rin works like a demon. There is barely a moment where she's without a brush between her toes, and not walking in circles around her current work in progress, estimating it from every angle and distance. She seems to be completely taken over by her will to work, to change herself into the sort of artist she believes would be worthy of the trust Namaya and Sei have placed in her. Piles of sketches, works in progress, tubes of oil paint and brushes slowly begin to crowd the small atelier, making it even messier than it was before Rin acquired the right to use it. Goodness sakes, clicking off the screen again. I offer to help her clean up every now and then, but each time she refuses. It dawns on me that in her mind the room is not an utter chaos, rather her system of keeping track of everything is so elaborate only Rin herself can make sense of it. She knows exactly where everything is, from the tiniest brush to that half-empty tube of crimson that's the perfect shade for some picture in progress. Rin walks from one painter to another, looking at them as if not remembering that she made them. She talks to herself, or to the paintings, even when I'm present. Always just quietly enough that I can't make out the words. Every day, Rin pours herself onto the canvases for hours on end, squeezing every bit of her ability and even her soul to make good on that promise she made to me or herself. Black marks appear beneath her eyes, a sure sign that she's skipping sleep in favour of painting. I'm somewhat surprised to see her at school a few times. I never go and say hello, though, as I somehow feel it would break the silent magic of the evenings we share at the atelier. Sometimes Sei comes by when I'm there. She gives me a certain kind of look when she shows up. I think she doesn't like that I'm always hanging out with Rin up here, but she never says a word about it. She isn't quite as full of praise for Rin's work as Namaya, but is visibly impressed nonetheless. However, when she turns her eyes from the wonderful works of art to look upon the little red-haired girl that made them, a sudden deep sadness floats onto the surface of her expression. I can't explain it, and she never talks about it. An air of mystery. June turns to July almost without warning. End of term exams loom dangerously close. But all I can think of is Rin. I feel like a sleepwalker at school, looking forward only to the next time I get to visit that silent place above Sei's gallery. After Rin refused my attempts at directly helping with her work, I try to figure out other ways to help her. It finally dawns on me that she isn't eating properly. My course of action decided, I stop at a convenience store before going to catch the bus downtown on my next visit to the studio. I feel very energetic as I open the door to the atelier and greet Rin. I brought you some fruit. You need vitamins and natural food after all. Do you even eat up here? I do eat. If I didn't eat if I couldn't pay it. Then why don't you eat a couple of these? I shake the bag full of ripe oranges in my hand and a plate to tempt Rin into taking a break. She can't exactly peel the oranges. To my surprise, she actually lays her brush down and walks over to me to see what I'd brought. Her expression doesn't change at all when she looks into the bag. I can't eat oranges, Hisao. It does not work very well with feet. That's alright, I'll do it. I won't do the eating, of course. Of course I knew that. She told me herself, after all. I extracted a tiny fruit knife I had with me and select one of the round fruits. After making the initial cut, I began to peel it with my fingers. The strong scent of cut orange Rin immediately fills the air as thousands of tiny droplets of oil burst from the skin. I remove the first section of the hard peel and shoot a glance at Rin. So, how's the work going? I don't know. It's like I'm in the center of some huge mountain of jelly and have to dig my way out. Must be stressful. I think it might be, even though it's just painting. All this, everything feels very strange. I wonder if Rin is the kind of person who likes to carefully remove all the white fibrous stuff from oranges before eating them, or the more careless type who just eats them as they come. Maybe neither. I'm the former type, so I meticulously clean the orange slices one by one, while Rin watches the process with mild curiosity. I realise I don't have the faintest idea about her likes or dislikes, or any of the other little details that make up the concept of a person for those around them. I think even couples have that at times where they can't fully understand their partners. It's like in all this time, I haven't learned much about her at all. Once I've finished lamenting the fact, I realised I've cleaned the entire orange and nearly split it into slices. I hold a slice up, bring it closer to Rin so she can pick it up. Here we go. And she takes it directly between her lips and then into her mouth hole. Her lower lip briefly brushes against my fingertip, for goodness sakes. Oh, dearie me. Is this where I'm going to think it's going to go? I hope not. Rin chews a slice carefully, savouring it as much as possible. I become fixated on the movements of her jaw, the trickle of juice glistening on her lips, the way her throat moves when she swallows the orange slice. After I realise what I'm doing, I turn away, feeling embarrassed about watching her so intently. It's not the same as it usually is. The orange? Painting. Yeah, you should have specified that. The painting is not the same as it usually feels, or something like that. Well, is anything like that ever the same? It is sometimes, I think. I don't know what, though. I might be starting to paint differently soon, if this goes on. Well, wouldn't that just be that change you keep talking about? She thinks about it, blinking her eyes a few times nervously. For a moment, absolutely nothing happens, as if time itself did a double take. We stare at each other in silence. Only that faint, tingy scent of orange floating between us and the muffled sounds of traffic in the background. Then I pick up another slice and hold it to her. She takes it from me with her mouth just like the first one. I didn't think it would be like this. Well, keep on going and see what happens. It's not like you can do anything else. Yeah, it's the only thing I can do. After that, she says nothing more. In the ensuing silence, I feed Rin the rest of the orange, one slice at a time. Then I peel another for her, which she eats as well. The third I eat for myself, and the rest are left in their plastic bag, which I put on a small desk next to the couch. She stands up and returns to her painting, with a strange look in her eyes that I haven't seen before. Like most of her expressions, it is completely unreadable. Even if I asked, she wouldn't explain it what it means. You have to let her explain it to you when she's ready. It's like a cat, really. You can't really approach it. It has to approach you. If that makes any sense. Some days later, I spot Rin and Sei standing together in front of a gallery as I walk down the street toward the gallery. They seem to be talking to each other while Sei has a smoke. Good afternoon. I say this even though it's not really afternoon anymore. I came a bit later than usual since I got caught up doing homework. It's going to be dark soon. Hello there, Hisao. Came to visit the little kitten again? Rin makes a face at the nickname. I guess she doesn't like it. Ironically, the way she wrinkles her nose like that really does make her look a bit like a cat. Hello. Sei turns back to Rin to continue the conversation they were having. So in other words, everything is going well enough? Rin makes a difficult expression and turns her face away from me. For some reason. It's difficult. It's like I'm missing something. But I will do it. Work hard and it will be fine. I'm going to have to start working on my part of the preparations. I need to do a sales catalogue, invitations, decorations, advertisement and so on. I need the names for your works, and we also need to think up the general theme for the exhibition. They don't have anything like that? I'm not very good with words, so I don't use them. If I can not use them, I mean sometimes I have to, but I think this is not a time like that at all. You don't like naming your works? I don't like it. Well, I guess it's hard to come up with a good name for something like this. Rin shakes her head vehemently. It's not like that. It's like if I paint a cloud and call it an octopus, people will think about it differently than if I could paint a cloud and call it the end of the world. Okay. Every name is wrong. Nothing ever explains what I feel like when I make a painting. It's not a word thing. The only thing would be to come up with new words for everything. But would it help out at all? Sorry. No, I don't think so. Then the paintings would go with just unnamed, number 1 and so on. It's a bit inconvenient, but that's no good. Unnamed means that he didn't come up with a good name. And unnamed is a name, like that Greek guy with the sheep and all. Sei thinks about this for a while. Furrowing her brow, she keeps looking at Rin's serious face. So you're saying your artwork should be completely without labels? I think that's what I'm trying to say. Sei lets out a dry laugh, the kind old ladies who smoke too much always seem to end up with. Let's hope your art will never end up in a museum. The courtiers would explode. She takes a contemplative puff of her cigarette, which has worn down not much more than the butt. Then she drops it into the ashtray affixed to the wall next to the door. Then again, it could work. What do you mean? This nameless, this rejection of labels, it works. It's a good unifying theme, and something people could grasp onto easily. Allows for a lot of room for interpretation. It gives a good impression. Think about it. All sorts of associations can be made, starting from identity and self-definition, all the way to whatever you want to think about. We could call your exhibition Nameless and build it on that theme. How does that sound? Rin thinks about this for a while. I'm not sure how Sei managed to get so fired up by Rin's reluctance to apply names to her works. It feels like she might be extrapolating too much. Extrapolating? But it's a pretty impressive sounding idea. I don't think it's a bad idea. For what it's worth, I have to say it sounds pretty good to me too. Sei reaches into her pocket for another cigarette, lighting it with a neon green butane lighter. Her forehead wrinkles, and she rubs it as she appears to furiously think more on this idea. She doesn't say a word for a little bit, but every now and then she takes a sharp drag from the cigarette. Yes, I think this would work out pretty nicely. I'm going to take this as the starting point and work from there. I'm going in to work on this. You go back upstairs and try to find your missing ingredient. I'm sure to come to you sooner or later. Rin doesn't reply, so Sei takes one last long pull from her cigarette and drops it in the tray to join with others of its kind. The gallery owner turns to head back inside, but is stopped by Rin just as she reaches for the door handle. Again with this sort of stuff. Sei? What is it, kitten? What? She looks at Rin incredulously, clearly not having expected such a direct request. Not that I did either. Don't tell your teacher. She stuffs the packet in Rin's pockets along with a neon green lighter. The day is already falling into dusk when we climb up the dark stairs leading up to what is now basically Rin's atelier. As we go inside, Rin doesn't seem to be able to settle down. She keeps pacing around the room like a caged animal, looking through the skylight at burgundy-coloured dusk. The last light of the sun's advance across the sky reflects from the clouds floating over the town, filling every corner of the atelier with blazing orange light. So painting is going well? She blinks, then relaxes her muscles. I didn't even realise how tensed up she was until now. Not really. I haven't painted in 3 days. I'm going in squares. Circles? If you say so. I tried doing things a bit differently, but it doesn't work. And now the old way doesn't work either. I need something more. It's not enough like this. Rin gives me pause. Since, as usual, I can't exactly understand what she means. Although really, I shouldn't have expected anything else. She either says nothing at all or too much. Trying to comprehend and follow her train of thought feels like wading through the jungles of Borneo, equipped with a wooden spoon and a map of Hokkaido. It's annoying how her thoughts are both laid out in plain sight and hidden from view every time she opens her mouth. What more? You said that to say as well. A missing ingredient. That's not it. Okay, that sounds unnecessarily grim. What do you mean? Rin's shoulders slump, and she turns to face me directly. I have to change. I've tried, but this is not enough. I have to destroy myself first, I think? Just to be clear, you're speaking metaphorically, right? Like learning to paint from scratch again or whatever, so to speak. She shrugs her shoulders as if there's no difference. There is no difference. So, you are going to start by smoking a cigarette? For inspiration? Maybe. I never tried this before, have you? No! Blah. No, can't say I have. Still, I'm not really sure if having a smoke is the best starting point. She responds to my words with another nonchalant shrug. I open the cigarette pack and look inside. It's almost full. Smoking is bad for you, but that's the idea here, I guess. Yeah, I need to do something. I want to paint. I need something more. So, okay, what's after smoking a cigarette then? How do you intend to destroy yourself? Rin thinks for a split second, averting her gaze like she does when she doesn't want to get distracted. I don't know yet. I'll decide later. Not inside. Rin bends down to pick out a cigarette from the end. She raises her head with one between her lips and turns to me, eyebrows curved into 2 arcs, challenging me to respond. With a sigh of resignation, I pick up the lighter and race to meet the cigarette. I can feel Rin's warmth breath against my quivering hand. The flame flickers to life on the third strike of the flint, and I try to aim the dancing fire at the end of the cigarette. An amber-coloured glow spreads into the wrapping paper and tobacco as Rin inhales the first smoke. It seems to relax her significantly. To my surprise, she doesn't cough, despite telling me that she's a first-timer. Rin seems to remember that it's hard to blow the smoke out without spitting the cigarette out as well. She quickly sits down on the floor, bringing her feet to her lips like a circus contortionist and expecting picks the filter between 2 toes. I get down on the floor as well, as we both lie down almost simultaneously while Rin blows a steady stream of smoke towards the dim sky beyond the glass of the skylight, looking after it thoughtfully. And the thin haze of steely blue smoke slithers towards the scene in fish-like movements. It billows in the stagnant air of the atlia, twisting and turning around its own immaterial body until it dissipates into thin air. What's the word for smoke that looks like that? Air? There's no word for that. We should maybe come up with one. Maybe. Rin takes another quick experimental drag. It's not very tasty. Feels like inhaling the dust lying on top of a forgotten book about the memories of a dead kingdom. Do you want to try? My hesitation unintentionally surfaces again, making me freeze in the face of a rather trivial and commonplace challenge. Rin's ability to take everything so coolly is something I'm a bit jealous of. Oh. Taking it from her after drag on it. Fight against a sudden choking feeling in my lungs as they're filled with smoke. To my embarrassment, I fail, wheezing, hacking my lungs out. I feel frustrated, but maybe I haven't lost too much facing Rin's eyes. It's less unpleasant on the second try, but I still pass the cigarette back to Rin. We're like a pair of budding delinquents in middle school, sneaking the first smoke out of sight of their teachers and parents. Well, I suppose it's not like. That's exactly what we are. After a while, the cigarette has shrunk most of the way down to the filter. Rin is still looking quietly out of the skylight. With her looking out there, the silence inside the Atlas seems to deepen even more. Are the cogs of creativity turning behind those eyes right now? No! Maybe for you, but not for me. I mechanically pick another cigarette, light it and place it on Rin's lips. She takes a quick few puffs and moves it awkwardly around with her lips. Shake it? Not understanding her garbled words, I glance over at Rin. Looks like she's having trouble with the cigarette. I place cigarette from her lips and abandoning common sense and good reason why I do so. I'd never do this at all in my entire life. The first one should have been enough for me, but I take another drag, still coughing a little at the unpleasant sensation of smoke invading my respiratory organs. I remember doing something like this before. So you have smoked. Doesn't look like it though. Now lie on my back and looking at the sky with you. Oh? The sky on the other side of the glass is slowly getting darker. It's unreachably high, even if the shimmering smoke seems to make it closer. I return the cigarette back to Rin's mouth. It feels bad somehow. The space between us, less than arm's reach, is still there. It's the distance between us, the immeasurably wide chasm of thoughts and feelings that separates us with graver certainty than even light years of physical distance could. By saying the right words, there might be a way to make that chasm narrower, even if it's just a little. I try to cross that gap with one big step, but Rin turned me back. I glance at her out of the corner of my eye. Rin is staring upward, through the smoke-filled ceiling and the skylight at the darkening sky above us. It's almost like she is sleeping even though I know she isn't. Her eyes are open, as is her mouth. I take the cigarette from Rin before it falls onto her cheek. She doesn't react to my touch in any way. So this is where we are now. I wonder if we could ever be closer than this. I take a drag of a cigarette and blow a thin stream of smoke upwards. These indirect kisses are the only thing that's I was just thinking that that's definitely what you'd call an indirect kiss. The taste of Rin's lips on the filter, mixed with the ashen taste of the smoke. Her soft lips against my fingers as I press the cigarette onto her mouth, as if she was placing kisses on them. The ash softly falling on the floor between us like snow. Great. As the second cigarette is being finished off, I already lighting the third one. The only thing breaking the stillness of the atmosphere is the inaudible sound of smoke floating towards the first stars blinking overhead. Light nausea hits me by the fourth or fifth cigarette. Before long, the shape of a waxing moon appears in the skylight, shedding her wan light down on us. It'll be full moon in a few days. It'd be nice to be able to fly. I flinch after realizing it was my voice that gave birth to the remark. The blank child of the almost elaborating smoke and tiredness. You can't? You can? Sometimes I feel like it, like I can do anything. I wish I felt like that too sometimes. I wonder if she hears the bitterness seeping into my words. The vicious cycle of unrequited feelings is poisoning me even now. I try to push the grim thoughts aside. My efforts meet with little success as my mind keeps swirling around with what-ifs and if-onlys. Watching the moon slowly creeping higher, I realise that a long time has passed since I came here. It sobers me somewhat, but also reminds me of the sad status quo we're in now. It's late. I better get going back to school. I stand to leave the room, but Rin doesn't show any signs of rising up from the floor. She lies inanimate, as though all life has been sapped from her. Little wisps of smoke float about her, memories of the cigarettes we shared. I grasp her by her short and thin arm and try to pull her up. To my surprise, she complies and stands up with some help from me. I notice how little Rin weighs, as if she were made of feathers. Are you going to stay here overnight? I have to. I haven't painted much in 3 days. I have to find out how I can start painting. Maybe the smoke helps. Just take a break. Just take a break? That's no good. I have to do it. If I can't paint anymore, I'll be destroyed for real. Maybe you're just burned out. You've been working pretty hard. That would be bad. I wonder if this is it for me. I want to see how far I can go. Maybe this is it. The end. You just have artist's block. It's not a big deal. That's the word when you can't paint, right? I've had that before. Never like this though. So this is an artist's block. I'll pick up a brush, then I want to put it down right away. And then I do. 3 days. It's like I've forgotten how to paint. I didn't think that was possible. Like, more impossible than Emery growing wings and a tail. You need a break. I mean, I get that you're trying to go deeper inside yourself for your paintings, but it's really not that healthy to stay inside your own head for so long. I glance at the night sky visible through the window. A couple of stars are weakly twinkling above the city. But it reminds me of something I used to do, once upon a time. It feels so horribly long ago. Come on, let's go outside. Where? Just for a walk. I'll show you my secret place. I don't know if it works in this town, but we can try. In any case, you need a break, and probably need something to eat. Come on. You need to get your thoughts away from this for a while. When they're troubled, most people escape from their unhappy lives into a world of fantasy. I did that before, and still do today. And that's what we're doing right now. Reading this game. Playing this game. Reading books endlessly. Immersing myself in their world rather than my own. Rin's escape should be the other way around, though. Out of her inner world and into the real. Rin doesn't look happy about this, but I ignore her. At least she's somewhat cooperative, walking after me as we head down the stairs and then down the sidewalk. Night has fallen upon the town. It's a gentle summer night, smelling of flowers and hot asphalt. The sunlight is replaced by shining neon colors and bland yellow streetlights. The air is easy to breathe, as if the air pressure was noticeably lighter than usual. The theme of daytime in the hot summer has lasted long into the evening and night. I grab Rin by her sleeve like I have seen Emmy do, and to my surprise, she obediently follows. The pale street lights fight against the all-enveloping darkness as we walk together, the guide and the guided, although neither knows the destination. But it doesn't matter. This is the one moment where the usual silences that have become a ritual between me and Rin at least fit perfectly. We walk side by side, choosing directions on impulse or inspiration. Sometimes we find ourselves back at a street we'd already seen once or twice. Sometimes we find new streets. All of them look asleep. Rin doesn't ask where we're going. Maybe she doesn't care. Maybe she knows I don't have an answer. The silence of the night isn't scary after all. The light drive most of it away. The air grows cooler as the moon progresses along its journey in the cloudless sky. Few cars roam the street at this hour, and even fewer people on the sidewalk. The apparent lack of nocturnal life is somehow befitting of this place. There are around-the-clock shops and cafes, sure. The atmosphere is like the town itself is slumbering, a town that sleeps 8 hours a day. I wish I could get 8 hours of sleep. The city I grew up in, bathed in the electric glow of a million light bulbs. Never slept. I have seen it for myself. It's not the first time I've done this. It happened one of the first times I was home alone. Not the film, by the way. Both my parents had business trips that neither could cancel, so they deemed me old enough to survive 2 days on my own. Their misplaced trust in me did not go to waste as I proceeded to spend the entire night out walking around the city. Even afterward, I couldn't say what made me stay downtown longer than I intended after school. I didn't feel like going home, so I stayed through the evening and eventually through the entire night. I walked long concentric circles around a landmark chosen at random. For some reason, the nighttime city felt fascinating, so I walked its streets. In every intersection, it was possible to choose your direction at random because they all lead nowhere. The aimless wandering made me see things differently. I hope it'll do the same for Rin. We stopped to buy some hot coffee and snacks from a vending machine, and then locate a bench where we sit down to eat. There is no time in the night of the town, so we spend an unknown amount of it just sitting there, observing the stillness of the usually vivid townscape. Still, it's getting very late, and soon it'll be getting very early. So is this it? Hearing Rin's voice surprises me. She doesn't sound bored, rather her tone is inquisitive, uncertain as to why I dragged her out here, yet curious to find out the answer. Yeah. Have you ever been out all night? It's like a different world. The remark sends her thinking for a while, looking around as she was looking for something. The wisps of light reflecting from the corners of her eyes are suddenly very sharp. It's not a different world. It's the same, just asleep. What do you think this town is dreaming of? Maybe something like car sheep or building sheep. Why are dreams always about sheep? Because it sounds like sleep. I've never seen a sheep-related dream that I can remember. Do different towns dream of different things? Probably. How could they not? I answer half joking, half spurring her on. For the first time tonight, it seems like a bit of Rin's life has returned to her. She doesn't continue her list of rhetorical questions, though. Instead, she leans back a little and looks up at the moon travelling above the town. The cool breeze blowing between the buildings seems to steal the conversation away before it even really begins. It's too bad. It looked like Rin would get out of her blue mood. I wish I could somehow know the right things to say, but I realise I can't do that, the way I am now. I'm too far apart from Rin. I haven't really managed to crack her open. She's just too complicated. It's like she's open to everything, equally disinterested in everything, or interested in everything, from the outset. In truth, she's locked tighter than anyone else I know, even myself. Sometimes she locks herself inside their inner world, shutting everything else out. At other times, her thoughts flow freely from her mind, but not organized in any fashion that would make them intelligible to the rest of the world. What comes out in the form of paintings, I can't interpret. To me, it's just a sea of colors and shapes, not a message. She's too far away. I now know it was a bad idea to try to reach for her in the way that I did, but I can't help liking her. I look at the fingers of my right hand, trying to remember what Rin's lips felt like against them. From the smokes themselves, or the cigarettes. Do you ever feel like you're trying to reach out for something that's impossible to reach? Rin turns her gaze to me, tilting her head quizzically. I wonder if she understands the meaning of my own rhetorical question or not. Either way, I like how I can manage to catch her attention just by speaking aloud nowadays. All the time. At least I think so. That's what painting feels like a lot of the time. Or all of the time. I don't know. Sometimes I get a feeling that I can really paint what I want. Sometimes it feels like it's just another shadow of me. Like a mirror that doesn't work right. Like talking? Maybe. When I was little, I didn't really have friends. Maybe it's the same now. The only things I liked were pens and paints. They were the only things that understood me. Now it feels like that is going away too. Change really is a scary thing. I wish I could understand you. She looks at me melancholically, roused by my voice materializing as words spoken aloud. Me too. Whether she meant she wished for me to understand her to understand me, or her to understand herself, I ask, nor do I find out. So I never ask, nor do I find out. I think she means the last one, for her to understand herself. I see her eyes searching for mine, serious and cryptic as they are. I'm not getting any explanation from there. Don't worry about it. I will. Small hints of a smile wavering her tips when she's like this. When she's like this, it makes me feel that maybe there's hope for us. We get along so well for being so different. It's just that we never really get along precisely because we are so different. Maybe it was Rin's passionate approach to her art exhibition, or perhaps my own careless words, but last week was different from usual. The small friction between us seems to be somewhat volatile, but at least we now seem to be back to normal, relatively speaking. We stand up from a bench and pick up yet another destination we should go to. The wee hours of night slowly pass by as we measure the streets of the town, one step at a time. We are finally at ease, not minding the rare, lone passerby, the eerie darkness, each other, ourselves. Rin's steps seem lighter, like the heavy air around her is letting go a little. It makes me feel happy. We don't talk, save for the single remarks that are spoken into the night of the town and never answered. The details jump into the eye instead of being the usual blur that are during the day. They are during the day. As the sky above the town changes from deep, dark blue to grey, I know that our night is soon ending. It's almost morning. Rin looks up too and nods at me. It's true. The coming light of morning is creeping through the sky, climbing higher by the minute. It feels surreal. The sun won't come up for a while, but I get the feeling that the end of this night really is here and now. Should we head back? Rin nods again. Twice, her hair waving in a breeze that seems to be heralding the coming dawn. Abruptly she takes off, taking the lead in this walkabout on which I brought her. It seems she really is in a better mood. This too makes me feel happy. Or happier, for any given sake. Rin's navigational skills are probably not much better than mine, but we eventually find ourselves in front of Sei's place. I don't know if this was any help. I did this once before, but it was more because of a stupid impulse or be recklessness back then. Maybe this was a silly idea didn't really help you at all. She just nods as an answer. So, do you know how you're going to destroy yourself now? I have some ideas. I don't want to see you for a while. Don't come and see me. Do something else. Her ultimatum catches me completely off guard. What the hell? What's that about? You said before that you didn't mind. I mind now, it's just for a while. I have to do this alone. I don't like that. Why? I don't want it to go like this. Why? I just don't want to feel this distance between you and me. She tilts her head like a bird, her eyes narrowing a little as she thinks. What? No, not like that, for goodness sakes. No. No. I don't know. Try. Exactly. Exactly. Okay, maybe right. Other than that, you can decide. Fine. I raise my hand hesitantly, even though I don't know why I'm actually doing this. Her eyes tell me that she's not going to explain. 1,000 thoughts race through my head as I slowly bring my hand close to Rin's face and press 3 fingers against her pale cheek. Rin feels soft and cold. She closes her eyes on contact and visibly relaxes. I can feel her soft breathing, her muscles releasing tension as my fingertips caress her cheek. She doesn't rest her head against my palm, or anything else you expect a girl to do in this sort of situation. In fact, she hasn't reacted at all, save for those now shut eyes. Once I withdraw my hands, she opens them again. It might be just an illusion created by the timid morning sunlight playing in my eyes, but Rin looks like she's holding back a smile. This is a problem with our relationship. Half the time I have no idea what's going on, and the other time I just fail to understand why things are going on like they are. As usual, I'm not going to get an explanation. Rin merely takes a step towards the door. See you later. Then she disappears from my reach for an undefined period of time. Very, very curious indeed as to what is going on. Let me of a cigarette, for goodness sakes. Like, me personally, I just don't understand how people can smoke, for goodness sakes. I hold true to my promise of honouring Rin's request, even if it's against my own will. I tried to redirect my focus into my studies, but end up zoning out during class and doing only the minimal amount of work required. Come on, man! You need to focus on your studies, not find a girlfriend. Still, I'm start looking into my post-high school options a bit more seriously. I pore over university brochures and various career paths. I'm good at studying, so I wanted to go to a university. I'm pretty sure I could get into a pretty decent one too. The only problem is deciding which subject would be the best. Kenji ridicules me about subjecting myself to the control of feminist teachers when I tell him about trying to get into a university. I don't ask him about what he wants to do in the future. I wonder what Rin thinks of her own future. I bet she's not as lost as I am. And if she is, it's probably in some completely different way. I feel somewhat disappointed in finding out that I can't stop thinking about her. Her request makes me worry about her and think about her more than I did when I could go and see her when I wanted. It bothers me that I can't. Do you know when you can? As expected, I eventually crack. Late one afternoon, I get on the bus heading downtown. I try to avoid explaining to myself exactly why I'm doing this and keep thinking about other things for the entire duration of the trip. And at last we're here. After about 5 minutes of a walk, I'm standing in front of a gallery. I walk past into the door of the atelier, but at the last moment, I lose my courage and continue all the way to the next corner, at which point I turn back. Will Rin hate me if I go and see her? I wonder what she's like when she's angry. I've never seen her angry. The worst thing would be if I actually ruined something by going to see her, like she seemed to imply would happen. But there's no way that can be true. Can there? It's just one of her quirks. I walk back down the street and end up passing the atelier door for the second time. Only this time as I continue all the way to the gallery, its owner is standing just outside the door watching me. I thought that was you. What are you doing? I really don't want to explain the circumstances between Rin and me, so I get flustered and end up muttering something unclear. She takes stock of me and then sighs deeply, looking wearily amused somehow. Hope she doesn't misunderstand. Would you like to come in? Your teacher's visiting. We were discussing Rin's exhibition. Ah, thanks for the invitation, but I really should... Don't be shy now. Come on in. Okay, I'll follow Say inside, finding our art teacher indeed is there. Namaya standing at the big desk contemplating what looks like an invitation card. Oh dear, look what the cat dragged in. Stop it, you! And the cat didn't even drag us here. Nakai, hello there, my boy. He doesn't seem to be at all fazed by my appearance. How do you like the invitations? Oh, hi there. I glanced at them quickly. They're kind of fancy, with one of Rin's paintings printed on the front cover in shiny gold writing. They look fine to me. Just fine. They're magnificent. I absolutely love the design and the embossed gold lettering. Fabulous. Good print work too. You have to tell me where you get these done. What does Rin think? I haven't asked. She said she'd be fine with my decision anyway. Namaya's laughed boisterously, still turning the gold-lettered card in his hands. That's my girl. She wants to focus on the essentials only. Good for her. Her work is progressing well too. It seems she's found new inspiration. I think she's been sort of weird lately. It's like she's wrestling with something, with herself probably, and it makes her confused. She said she had a hard time painting the last time I saw her. It seems to be resolved now, however. You know she practically lives up there now, right? Sei makes a simple gesture with her hand, as if swiping my question aside. Sure. Don't you think that's weird? Maybe it is. Still, I think she understands how big an opportunity this is and is going for it full throttle. Is it really that big? Namaya sets her cards down and brushes some imaginary dust off his jacket. Well, how should I put it? There are times in everyone's lives where something really big washes over you and changes you forever. This could just be that moment for Tezuka. I see. Yeah, I think I've had something like that happen to me. I'm referring to the incident that brought me to Yamaku. Neither of the two adults comments on that, however. It might well be that everyone has, or will. At any rate, surrendering oneself to art is a big decision, and a thorny path too. Quite thorny indeed. Tezuka has almost everything one needs, but whether she has the will to pull through, That's a different question. I should know that best. I tried going down this path too, but turned away in the end. What is this going to entail? I'd say let's keep a focus on Rin. Is that why you're being so supportive of Rin? Is that why you're being so supportive of Rin? Because you know it's hard? Say answers me instead of the art teacher. Maybe. Partially? Does it bother you? Well, no, I'm not saying it's a bad thing either. I just don't get it. Like the Atelier is an amazing place, but it's not been used in who knows how long, and now that Rin came up 17 years and 4 months. That's how long it's not been used for. I raised my eye to meet Say's, a calm, calculating stare, not unlike Rin's own. It's fixed upon me, and Maya's usual smile has suddenly died too. It feels like the air pressure in the gallery suddenly dropped, along with the temperature. That is how long it's been since someone worked there. Oh? I guess there's a story to everything. Say crosses her arms with a quiet sigh and leans against the table. The Atelier belonged to my husband. He was an artist too. He lived up there. Well, we both lived up there for some time after we got married. We actually met through him, as a matter of fact. That's right. Anyway, we were young and foolish, or at least I was. We were studying art at the same school. Art history for me, painting for him. And as he just said, this was about the time I met your teacher. Anyway, I fell madly in love with this person, or maybe with his art. He was brilliant. His genius just shone so brightly whether he put a brush to canvas. Her voice takes in an almost reverent sort of tone as she reminisces about her husband. I look at her hands and notice that she's not wearing a wedding band. And on top of that, she keeps speaking in the past tense. I wonder why. He really was the kind of artist who would make history books, one with a direct line to God. That's what I thought anyway. Silly, isn't it? I think we all knew that he was something else back then, even the teachers. That genius, well, I'd say it consumed him. Everything, absolutely everything was second to art, be it social life, getting a job, or even me. It just wasn't as important. It seemed that artists can't look at their work as just a job, you know. It's something more fundamental to that. It was hard to live with a person like that. Hard to be married to a person like that. She takes a pause and looks to see if I understood. I guess the point of the story hasn't emerged yet. That or I've missed it. Yes, he became so obsessed with art that he left his wife. So how did you cope with it? The Atelier? No, yeah, the Atelier, not the Atelier. My question, probably the exact one she was waiting for, draws a dry chuckle out of her. However I could, sometimes it was hard. Sometimes I fooled myself into believing he would change. I pursued my own things too, just so it was easy to just let him be. It's not you can stop an artist from painting if he wants to paint, like stopping a fish from being able to swim because they need to. Plus, being with an artist is fascinating. I can't say that I hated it. Art schools are full of all sorts of posed and pretentious gimmicks, but true artists are lovely people in general. I think that's why your teacher has taken such a shine to our little kitten. She really has the makings of an artist, and a good one at that. She wants to paint. She must paint. Quite so, she's the best student I've ever had. It's just about her finding her own way now. Maybe that's why I've wanted to give her this chance. If she goes to an art school, it'll be good for her. Artist expression is about finding one's own place to be, your own limits, and then working with that, to expand them, to break them, whatever works best, but you have to know the limits of what you can do. Anyway, long story short, my husband was a person without these kinds of limits, a unique individual, but a human being can't endure a thing like that. He died young. After he was gone, I couldn't stand the Atelier anymore, and tried to forget it. That kind of thing happens. You could say that his flame was bright but brief. Yep, it is an explosion. It is there for an instant. It is massive in impact. But as much as it blown up like that, it just as quickly died out as much as it blown up. Her story comes to an abrupt end, but it doesn't seem like she was going to go any further. Nomaya toys with the invitation cards lying on the table, as if doing something just for the sake of doing it. But what if Rin is like your husband too? What if she's a person who has unlimited potential? Say's hand twitches, and I see once more that sad look welling up in her eyes. It's the look she gets when she watches Rin. The look by which she remembers her husband. I doubt it. Say stands up and digs in the pocket of her jacket for a cigarette and a lighter. Her hands are shaking. I'm going out for a smoke. Aha. Keeping it quiet. Wordlessly, Nomaya and I both decide to follow her after a moment. It's already dark outside. Say is standing with her back to us, taking sharp occasional drags on her cigarette. Its weak amber glow illuminates her face, framing her sharp jawline. Maybe it's best to call it a night. I can give you a lift back to school if you want, Nakai. You're not going anywhere, Shinnachi. I need a drink. We're going to that place at the corner. The teacher looks at the old lady and then shrugs at me apologetically. It's no problem, I'll just catch the bus back. I headed upstairs to see if Rin will come back to school with me. Anyway, I think she's been staying overnight here too often lately. Say locks the front door of the gallery and links arms with... It's not unsurprising though. I wonder what it feels like to have friends who have been with you for decades, for most of your life. I can't imagine it. The two of them start making their way down the street towards the bar on the corner, so I quickly head upstairs to be at the door, ready to get to what I originally came here for. I climb upstairs and enter carefully. The room is dark because of the quickly falling night, but I can see Rin, or rather her silhouette, sitting on the floor. So she gets her inspiration back. She's got her inspiration back, like Say said, and moved from easel to painting on the floor. Before I can manage 5 steps, I stop, frozen in my tracks. The ironic realization that human cognitive ability is commendable echoes through my mind. For a mere movement of a shadow, it took me a fraction of a second to realize something is already. Process what I'm seeing, formulate the answer, and blush all the way up to the tips of my ears. Rin is sitting on the floor with her legs under her. She moves in rhythmic motions back and forth, slowly grinding herself against herself. Her breathing is so heavy it is almost visible in the dim light. It's the heavy panting of one who doesn't have the option of breathing gracefully. Her hips, mere shadows against the dim light, shine on her from above, are swinging circling over and over again. She hadn't noticed me, so engrossed she is in her activity. The deadlock solves itself before I get a chance to think what to do next. Something in the atmosphere of the room changes. A little thing. Not consciously noticeable, but it changes. Perhaps a timid current from the open door, or a minute change in air pressure. The sound of my breathing, even though I notice I haven't taken a breath for many seconds. The awe of my presence. That something catches Rin's senses. She stops moving, freezes, and slowly turns to the door. I imagine, not see, the horror in her face, like a fawn's eyes staring at a hunter. She crying? I wonder if Rin can see my expression, but at least she doesn't have the strength nor the spirit to look straight in my eyes. So she droops her chin against her chest, letting her mess of hair hide her face from me even further. I feel like I should either walk out or walk to her, but I can't do either. I told you to stay away. Her words are defeated, painful, as if she was suffering. Rin doesn't have anything other than her shirt on. I can see the last wisps of the twilight against the pale skin on her thighs and bottom. There's no way I can back off anymore. I've lost that chance, so I do the next best thing. I quickly avert my gaze even though Rin doesn't see what I'm looking at. I'm sorry. I didn't think. It's not like that. Her voice is raspy, shivering from held back tears or something else. She is shaking, looking like she's in physical pain. It's not like that. One of these again. Okay, how are we going to read all of... Okay, it's going to be stopped halfway through. I had no idea what it really means to change, but I know now you have no idea what I have had to do and all the things that passed through, and now I forget. I really don't. They just build up inside and grow and grow and grow until they flow out like a flow of everything that has ever been wrong. I can't take it. I can't think of the things I want because there's only so many things I can think. 4, 6, 7, doesn't matter. It's never enough. I have to let this out enough to destroy, forget it, and nothing. Rin is mumbling her words into the air more than talking to me. It is the rambling, ranting, raving speech of a lunatic, even and steady in tone, but taking the form of a never-ending stream of words almost simultaneously spawning from between her lips. It feels like she forgot it is me who is present, or that someone actually is present. Maybe she vaguely remembers or recognizes what is real and what is not. Maybe in her mind I am a voice inside her head. I look down at Rin's sorry figure, cowering on the floor with only the white shirt of her usual attire on. It's neither preserves her modesty but has gone, nor her body warmth that she doesn't seem to care about. She looks more broken than I imagine a human person being capable of, and the hospital and school have given me some real perspective on that. I remember the hazy blue smoke, and myself wondering what Rin would do for the sake of art. The realization that Rin really is always serious hits me with its entire weight. She really and truly would destroy herself if her art required it. I thought she was so silly with her strange ways, talk about personal change as if it was something sudden and concrete, like waking up. No, change comes over time. I had no idea. This is her, laid bare in front of my eyes in all possible means of the word. Complete isolation here on the top floor of this building, in this room, in her mind. Day after day, working on her paintings with no heed paid to anything else, breaking herself to reach that which she wishes to reach, this obscene act that she does for reasons I'm not sure she understands herself. Why does she have to do this? I'm trying to connect the pieces, but I don't understand. I feel sad, scared, excited, disgusted, worried, and a number of emotions I can't remember the name of. I feel conflicted. I should go. I'm really sorry. It doesn't matter. My voice is dry and quiet, like sandpaper coming out of my throat. I really am sorry. Sorry for seeing this. I don't want to see Rin like this. All I can see is her sadness, her stress and despair. Is this what a limit means? How could saying no Maya let Rin go this far? Or is it me who is to blame? I almost walk out. Right there, but the last moment I turn around, steel myself, and walk to Rin to crouch down behind her and lightly touch her forehead. She doesn't resist or react. I can't leave her like this. She's not well. She feels like she has a fever, freezing cold and burning hot at the same time. I wonder if she got sick from staying out all night with me back then. It seems she's prone to getting ill. There is a blanket on the couch, but I wrap my arms around Rin instead of fetching it. She does not resist my clumsy hug, only slumps her head lower, deepening the shadows hiding behind her face from me. What are you doing? Nothing. I am not embracing out of love, nor out of forgiveness. For am I in love, or is she sorry? I just want to hug her. For a moment, the only sound in the room is her heavy breathing. My body warmth, shared between two people, is barely enough, but slowly, painfully slowly, it spreads from me to her. The small warmth returning to Rin makes me more conscious of her body against mine. Even in the darkness I can feel the fleeting scent of Rin's hair, the sweat on her skin, the dried paint stuck in her shirt. I feel the hardness of her bones and the softness of her flesh. Her heartbeats echoing mine, out of rhythm just like always. The hot blood rushing inside me reminds me why I said what I said back then, why I came here even after that, why I'm here tonight again. Why am I hugging her now to keep her safe against the cold and the sadness? Rin has always grown on me inside my heart, claiming a small part of it as her own, without even particularly trying. Rin. Even if she wants to push me away, I can't help this feeling. Are you alright, Rin? I'm not. I think I broke. I painted some really good things. Incredible. But it hurt me. I can't handle this. Her voice cuts out, as there are no more words for her to say. It's not an angry voice, nor a sad voice. It is a lifeless voice, devoid of any emotion. I pet her head and shoulders, the physical equivalence of saying there. It's not like I could reassure her with the sweet nothings that people are supposed to say in this kind of situation. I'm not sure if she would even listen or be reassured. She didn't react much to my embrace either, as if she didn't care. Maybe she doesn't. At least she doesn't care if she looks sad or not. There are no facades, no attempts to explain herself, no false happiness. Rin is honest. Hi, Sal. What is it? You're my friend, right? Right. Will you do me a favor? I can't fix this, but I'm not finished yet. Her dry voice is a mere whisper, but the strength, her last, is in it, meaning much more clearly than her words. I can feel Rin's heart beating against my chest like a scared little bird. Her entire body is shivering from her fever, from her fear, from her despair. My brain is fast becoming overloaded with a myriad of thoughts this encounter spawned, but I have to push them all aside. I snuggle my nose against her earlobe, which is soft and cold, and make sure it's not the left one, and her hair, which smells good and tickles me. Alright, I'll do it. I whisper in her ear reassuringly, trying to make her calm down. It works at least halfway, as Rin closes her eyes and leans against me as if searching comfort for my warmth. But this is not something that friends should do. We can't be friends anymore? It's fine. Don't worry about it. Just relax. Even though I said that, I'm on the verge of breaking myself. If I wasn't so nervous, I would laugh at my own nervousness. Don't do that. She wants to be comforted, and I want to comfort her. But in this way, I've moved my hand lower. Okay. Shall we even look at this part? Her muscles contract, timidly evading my touch, but soon they found their trust in me and relax. Rin gasps for breath like she's drowning, returning to reality because she has no other choice. Her entire body is still in the throes of a slowly dying moment. Pearls of sweat are glistening on her forehead. I am feeling my own heat inside of me, but now the spur of the moment is gone and I don't know what to say to Rin, who is panting, hot and ecstatic in my arms. Her shirt, wet with sweat, is glued to her back, revealing hints of her shoulder blades and waistline. She feels limp, weak, exhausted. I reach out for the blanket and wrap it around her and me. Rin doesn't resist me. She's drained of all strength. What will happen now? I don't know. Nothing, I suppose. You look tired. I am tired. It feels strange. Like I lost something. I mean something else than my martial purity. Don't say something like that. Neither of those things. I don't want to lose you. What does that mean? I'm not going anywhere. I'm afraid that you are. All the time. In that moment, I felt that it was not only Rin who lost something of hers. I felt like I was losing a part of myself, or maybe all of me. But if you were to ask what it was that I lost, I couldn't say, because I had already forgotten it. I broke another promise by coming out with my honest feelings to Rin. That's 2 in one day. I hate the distance between you and me, so every time it gets a little bit closer, I become afraid of losing it. That's weird. I guess so. Do you mind if I sleep a little? No, I guess you don't. You like watching, don't you? She closes her eyes and swallows with a loud gulp, trying to relax herself, fighting against the urge to paint. Yes. Yes, I do. Rin moves her body in my arms, searching for a comfortable position, a very uncomfortable position. She leans against me, closing her eyes, and lets out one last long breath out before sitting into the steady rhythm of sleep. With a last moment of awkwardness, she whispers something to me, but I can't quite hear it. Rin drifts deeper into sleep, with a deep sigh that releases all remaining tension from her muscles. I'll try to shift around to place both of us more comfortably. It takes a while because I don't want to wake Rin, even though she probably wouldn't, but eventually I'll find a position that I'm somewhat comfortable with. I lean against the soft cushions of the couch and breathe in the cool air of the atelier. Rin's head rests against my chest as if she were listening to my heartbeats. Echoes of her dream ripple as small twitches on her face, like a cat sleeping, the mouse hunter's dream. The full moon, shining her pale light upon us from beyond the skylight, reflects from a blank canvas standing forgotten on the easel. Its whiteness is glowing against the dark night of the atelier. And dawn arises for both of our characters. But where on earth do people think that this character is? Because it's morning, and we're at the atelier. Through the grogginess of a freshly awakened mind, I can observe my surroundings only one thing at a time. The morning light shining from the skylight is bright and sky-coloured. It reflects from the white walls and the colourful posters and paintings. Hope nobody at school realised I spent the night here, but didn't find out the last time, so I'm feeling confident about my chances. My neck is stiff and my shoulders are hurting like hell from sleeping in an awkward position like that. I can't even remember when I fell asleep, only the full moon Rin, warm against me. I can't remember her waking up either, leaving my side. However, she has. Rin is standing in the middle of the atelier, looking as if she was lost. She's not looking at anything I can see, not doing anything. Just standing there. I wonder what she is thinking. And that, folks, is what we're going to see in the next time around. Very curious as to where this went out. Like, personally, I'm always disgusted to see somebody being introduced to smoking because of this kind of scenario, but it's not for me to decide, but I just hate the idea of smoking. Like, it's just so disgusting and a financial waste. Thank you so much for watching, and see you all in the next time of Katawa Shoujo. Not sure how far we are until the end of Rin's route, but probably at least 2 more episodes. If not 3, probably. Thank you so much for watching, and take care of yourselves.